All right, welcome to your second tutorial. So for this one, we are going to go over two commands called chamfer and fillet. I have made a component here for the sake of this tutorial called chamfer and fillet. As you might notice, this looks like the word fillet. We are not filleting a fish. Instead, this is called fillet in the CAD and manufacturing world. So I'm going to create a sketch. I'm already in top view. You'll live in top view through pretty much all of this packet and through all of these 2D CAD drawings. So I'm just going to hit that little plane and say, yep, this is where I want to draw. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I am just going to draw a rectangle. Now, I'm going to make it that big. Doesn't really matter for the purpose of this. I'm going to make two different rectangles. So this will be my second one. So on this first one, I'll press escape to get out of that command. On this first one, we're going to chamfer the edges, which means we are going to create a line that bridges the gap between this edge or this line and this line here. So we will get a line that looks something like that when we are done. Now notice I drew that at a 45-degree angle, and 45-degree angles are what we are going to make. So under my modify menu, I can see chamfer. Now we have a couple different options under here, and these options are useful in different scenarios. Pretty much all of the chamfers we're going to be doing right now are equal distance chamfers. Okay? So if I look at my drawing here, for instance, it says 4 times 0.5 at 45. So when I go to do my chamfer, I'm going to select equal distance, and I'm just going to enter the command 0.5. Now, the fact that it says 4 times means 1, 2, 3, 4. In this drawing, it's just indicating that all 4 of these are the same chamfer distance. So that will be the case in many drawings. You might see notation like this, where it says all of these are symmetrical. And then likewise, this says 2 times at 0.25. So that chamfer and that chamfer are both 0.25. Okay? So let's go over here and learn how to do it. I'm going to go to my modify menu, chamfer, equal distance. I'm going to select my first line and my second line. Now, this is going to look a little bit bigger than it does in the drawing because I have a smaller scale rectangle here. So I'm going to hit 0.5. Boom. My chamfer distance is 0.5 by 0.5. Perfect. So I'm going to show you a shortcut so that you can make these go a little bit quicker. If I go chamfer, equal distance chamfer, and I select this and this, if I input my dimension, I'm going to wait a sec. I'm not hitting anything at the moment. All it says is 0.5. I haven't pressed enter. I haven't clicked on my mouse. I haven't done anything else. I've just input the value. I'm going to come around to these other ones, click that line and that line, that line and that line. And now what it's done, I'm done here. So now I can finally press enter. Now what it's done is it's made these all the same. So once I enter a command like chamfer or fillet, if I start one command and I know that I have others to do that are going to be the exact same, I'm going to input my value after I've started the command and selected my 2 lines. And then I'm going to click around to the other ones, and it's going to keep those same distances active as I complete the command. So for this, we're done. I just wanted to show you a brief example of how to chamfer some edges. Okay? Later on, we're going to learn how to chamfer edges in a 3D space. So when we do that, we are going to actually create a diagonal across two faces in a 3D plane, but we're not there quite yet. So the next thing I want to do is fillet the edges of this. So let me find a drawing in here where that is true. You can use fillets to make square edges round off. So in this case, there was one right down here that I passed over. So in this case, I see what would be a square for all intensive purposes, right? Well, not a square, a rectangle, because it's 4x5, not 5x5 or 4x4. So in this rectangle, I would start out with just a square. So let's actually use the sketch dimension tool. We learned that in the past video. We're going to use the sketch dimension tool to resize this to be 4x5. So let's do that now. Sketch dimension, or here, I'll hit escape and I'll actually use D on my keyboard. Let's focus on getting quick at keyboard commands. So let's hit D on our keyboard. And right now this is 1.5. I want that to actually be 4. And then this to be 5. Cool. So later on, if you forget how to do this, you can always reference this video. I'm going to come back to my drawing. So again, this uses the notation 4 times a diameter of 1. So I'm going to come to my fillet tool. It's the first under our modify menu, or a keyboard shortcut of F. As I come onto the corner here, it says, is this what you want to round off? I'm going to say, yeah, this is what I want to round off. And so diameter of 1 is what it shows over here. Now, the tricky thing is that Fusion defaults to diameter for circles, but radius for fillets, which isn't the best because we get used to one and then we have to transfer to the other. However, I'm just going to do some quick math and say, oh, a diameter of 1 is actually a radius of 0.5. Remember, halfway across a circle. So if we get the full circle, we just divide it in half. So 0.5. Now, before I hit anything, I'm going to use the quick way. I'm going to come over to this one, and this one. Now that I've rounded all of them off, I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard and accept that is what I want. So see here, we have radius of 1, radius of 0.5, diameter of 1. And that's true of all of these. Now, if we ever wanted to check that this was accurate, I could always hit D on my keyboard for the sketch dimension. I could click on that. Let's just, sure. Create driven. And I could come in here and check them all out. Make sure that they all rounded off in the way that I wanted to. So, yeah, perfect. We're looking good there. So, just a quick little video on how to chamfer corners and how to fillet corners. So we're going to go through the next model that deals with some chamfers. You already know how to do fillets now, so when you run into that later on, you'll know how to tackle that issue. But we'll run through the next model called Bear that deals with chamfers. So go ahead, finish sketch. If you followed along with this, you can even turn that off. Come up here, activate component, and if you have not already, create the Bear drawing or the Bear component where we will make the drawing. So I'll see you in the next video. That is how you chamfer and fillet corners.